Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Quick look once again at SUI, seeing what's going on. Obviously doing very well. While it is one of the only red coins in the market today, essentially pulling back and selling off, it's pretty standard, as I mentioned previously, when Bitcoin pumps, heavy volume coins that have been accumulating for some time now, obviously quite a while for SUI, are more likely to sell off first based on the simple fact that this overextension is starting to top out. I'm not saying that we're not going to continue any higher, we probably will and could, but the truth is when you start to see this kind of behavior, contrary to Bitcoin doing well, with an inverse pairing in a lot of ways, that leads me to believe that with Bitcoin maintaining its range or possibly going higher, we might see SUI pull back a little bit further. Anyways, it's probably best to anticipate worst case scenario at all times and then kind of work backwards from there. Instead of always assuming things are going to go to the moon, like most people, I prefer to kind of speak some logic into you. So again, from a trader's perspective, there's a lot of liquidation to the upside. It makes sense for the price to go higher, but you got to recognize also that this natural pullback is very standard and just par for the course. Okay, so if I do ever mention that SUI might go down by even just a small margin to give you good dollar cost average targets, try not to get offended. Okay, just throwing it out there. That's just kind of how it goes. If you're offended by now or you're kind of upset with what I've just said, you could probably just go ahead and leave and go watch somebody else. Anyways. The whole point of me telling you that is that SUI is a beast and is still probably more likely to continue higher. And there's a lot of reasons why it should too. If you look at this liquidation level here, 240 to about 250, there is a solid $2 or $3, maybe $4 billion in liquidation up there. Okay, so we zoom out, we can kind of see it a little bit easier, can kind of count that. Each one of these bars is between about 4, 5, 6, 700 million. Yeah, so 250 has close approximate 3 to 4 billion in liquidation between here and there. And what that basically just means is there's a lot of reasons why the price will go higher to sweep those areas of liquidation, because that's just how market makers work. They generally like to sweep those areas. However, if we do take a look here, the delta for this coin is still on the bullish side. So for the last 5 days, we've seen the last 3 out of 4 days, people are heavy on longs. Okay, generally speaking, when that happens, you're going to see a natural correction for the price to pull back, just based on the fact that there's too many longs in the markets, and what goes up must come down. But also, you can only have so many people buying and so many people selling. You can't buy without people selling, right? So again, you're eventually going to hit that critical point, which I think we've already hit. However, we too take a look here at open interest. Ever since, what is it, the 12th, which is 2 days ago, we've seen a ton of interest at $2.18. So $2.18 is that heavy, likely heavy support. Open interest is a good indication of support, letting us know if the price pulls back. 218 would be a logical consideration for a long. Now, the reason why that's logical is because we look here, previous high, 217. There's that high back there in March on the 27th. Okay, we've since broken that. We can presume that'll be the new support, right? So you can kind of see some confluence there, that 218 to 217 mark. Those are all very, very beneficial things. So let's take a look at the weekly and kind of work our way down, see what's going on here. We're going to see mostly bullish continuation here for the weekly. We do have a pretty significant fair value gap as low as $2. So keep in mind, last week the price wicked up so fast, so quick. There was no profits to be taken, so to speak. We could very well see that area get swept. Keep in mind, fair value gaps exist without ever getting swept often. However, it's less likely for them not to get secure profits, so to speak, at some point. If you think about it, imagine like a bunch of whales right here accumulating at this point. They're going to want to secure some profits, and they have enough of this coin, this token, to essentially be able to pull the price down there, secure profits at break even, and then continue back up like it never happened. So just know that's a possibility. Throwing it out there. Again, if you're offended by that, I'm so sorry to hurt your feelings. You shouldn't be offended because honestly, folks, when it comes to look at the charts, emotions mean nothing. In other words, you shouldn't feel emotional about trading at all. Again, it's hard to be a robot in this situation, but I understand that a lot of folks are emotional. It's how we are as humans. But the sooner you can disconnect from an emotional bias, the better you're going to be at trading. All that being said, we're coming close back down to 70. So this continuation, while it's been awesome while it lasted, I think we're starting to top out, again, just from a weekly perspective here. We do still have good significant momentum, so try not to overread that. I think there's a good chance we'll see continuation from here. I mean, pending we don't lose that 217 mark, that 218 mark, that local high, then we're going to be in pretty good shape. All right, let's go ahead and just wrap this up here. Daily time frame. Quickly understand we're above all moving averages. This ascending trend line is still respecting. So in this case here, we can see we got the 20-day SMA working pretty well as a good support. And more importantly, until we break free from that ascending trend, we can presume the price will maintain this range or go higher. Same thing here as well when we look at the RSI. While it is crossing back down under 70, generally a good point to consider securing profits. We're still over 50, and we're still in a good situation where everything is looking pretty bullish. The money flow index is right there with the price action, generally construed as a positive sign. If there's a significant disparity between the two, it's a different story altogether. But at this point, I think we're in pretty good shape to be able to probably maintain the 217, the 220 to 230 range. Again, I don't expect a massive breakout soon, because as we see with Bitcoin ramping up, we actually saw volume come down and money coming away from this coin. So that doesn't give me a lot of confidence in trying to take a long right now. But again, that's me being a little more conservative and more of a careful trader. You'll see this happen a lot if you're new to the channel. I miss a lot of opportunities, okay? But again, the ones that I do take are typically quite beneficial because there's a lot of confluence and confirming factors. For example, we took some nice profits here on, what was it? Bitcoin. That was a Bitcoin short. We got a long from Near Protocol and Solana long as well. So all those were just 5x leverage trades for altcoins and a 10x leverage trade for Bitcoin. Again, when we take these kind of profits, we're not like getting super crazy. We're not 50 to 100x family. We are a 5 to 10x leverage, and the reason why, because we survive the markets and we don't get destroyed because the price goes in a different direction. Like these candle wicks are insane. It's difficult to maintain if you're using high leverage. So again, unless you want to sit there and watch the charts all day, I would recommend lower leverage if you're going to be swing trading. And if you are a spot bag holder, I'll discuss with you here shortly the good dollar cost average targets. 4-hour time frame though, we can see stochastic pulling back, still MACD is diverging now officially. Last time MACD diverged on this coin, keep in mind it performed in this manner. I'm not saying that's going to happen again, but generally speaking, we've shifted momentum and we are potentially due for a correction. And just to give you clarification, when the MACD diverged officially, it was right here. And so from top to bottom, it was like a 12% correction. Not that big of a deal, honestly. We're seeing 12% corrections all the time. So just know that we could see a little bit further downside based on that metric. But we're over 50 in the RSI. Money flow index is kind of right there. It's slightly larger disparity, as I mentioned before. So this isn't really a good sign. But us being over 50 lets me know that we're above a support. Once again, 217, 218, that number is kind of glaringly obvious at this point. So we want to kind of give that a chance to be able to hold. So hypothetically, along at 216 to 218, roughly that little range of a previous all-time high, and more so should be a new low based on that being a local high here as well. There's a lot of reasons why we should give that area a chance to take off. It may not even pull back to that level, but I think it will, honestly, based on the way that Bitcoin and this coin are inversely paired in a lot of ways. I think that we have hit our tentative top for SUI. If we take a look here, of course, we can also recognize as well that the money flow index is, the lagging span. While it's free and clear, it's not a very clean break. We can see stochastic RSI, or more importantly, that's the conversion line and the baseline. They're kind of intersecting. So with us being above the cloud, this is generally favorable, right? We want to understand that this is a good sign. It's kind of running concurrent with the trend line too. However, if we break below that, we come closer to that 218, 217 mark. I think we may, in fact, see the price pull back to continue lower, right? So my money is on seeing a retracement here for SUI, at the very least to 218, 217. That level does not hold. We may fill some of these fair value gaps down here and continue lower. Once again, dollar cost average targets for future reference spot bags, 217, 218 makes a lot of sense considering that's a local support level. Based on Fib, we can see 205 and 196 as those secondary and tertiary targets. I'll post a playout chart here on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord so you know. It looks a little something like this. But generally speaking, this is something that you want to kind of pay attention to and recognize. But the truth is, if you're just bullish on SUI because you're bullish and everyone else is, you're doing it wrong. There's going to be small pullbacks. There's going to be large pullbacks. There's going to be significant uptrends too. The truth is the macro is still looking pretty decent, but we're starting to see some cracks in the glass, and we're probably going to see a little bit further downside here before we leg up again. It's just a natural thing, though, in trading. This is very standard. So either way, I wouldn't be concerned with the 4% correction today so far for SUI, but I would say that those are some good areas of interest. All right, I hope that makes sense. I described that correctly. Thank you again so much for the awesome, phenomenal support. Make sure you all check out Bitunix too, phenomenal exchange, link down below for some extra reward bonus. These guys have been great to us for over a year now. It's our community favorite, so be sure to use that. If you've already used my link to register in the past, you're automatically eligible. Take advantage of that if you can. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, though. Appreciate your time. Look forward to seeing the next one. Take care.